So guys, let me share with you a detailed step-by-step guide on how I made this beautiful short Ankara summer pants with drawstrings. As usual, it's your girl, Apora. In case it's your first time, you're welcome. Kindly hit the subscribe button and let's get started. So I have here 1¼ yard of fabric that we will be using to make our baggy short pants with drawstrings and elastic band. So I'll go ahead now to cut it out. So first we'll be working on the front part of our short baggy pants, and I've cut out my fabric, so the length there is 17 inches while the width is 21 inches. Okay, so at the very top I would take my starting line, which will be taking all the measurements from. So I do this a lot in my videos. So from the starting line, I'm going to be taking my hip point, which is 11 inches, and from that point we would also be determining our crotch depth, which is 2.5 inches. Okay, you can do with 2 inches, so I took 2 inches instead of 2.5, and this point I'm going to be ruling a straight line across it. So this was the same pattern we drafted for the making of our baggy pants trouser. So on my hip line now, I am going to be taking my hip circumference divided into 4. So it gave me 11.5. And from that point, I'll be adding extra 6 inches allowance to it. So that is what I am counting now. I added extra 6 inches allowance to my hip point. So whatever your hip circumference is, ensure to add extra 6 or 8 inches allowance. So on my crotch line, I am taking a measurement of 2 inches, and this I will be drafting my cuff all the way to the top. Alright, so this is going to serve as the flap area. So you can see I'd connected it back into the straight line and we have our curve. So at the very top, or where our starting line is, I went down by 1 inch. So that point now I'm going to be connecting it back to the other end around the waist area there. So this I also did for the other video. So it's important that the front of our trousers sits properly. So I'm actually making the same points at the border area of this short pants. So I went in by 2 inches to be able to shape in this short pants. You could leave it like that, but I usually love to shape in my pants, and I went ahead to cut out my pattern after that. So we are done with the drafting and the cutting of the front pattern of our short pants. So this would be using to cut on the fabric for the back. So you can see I've placed it on the fabric that we're going to be using for the back of our short baggy pants, and the fabric for the back is bigger than that of the front. So on the crotch line of the front pattern, I am extending the line on the back fabric as you see me do right now. So on our hip line, I'm going to be taking a measurement of 2 inches. I'll make a point there, and then I'll connect it back to the point on the crotch area as you see me do right now. So at the very top, I also took a measurement of 2 inches. I'll be using my straight rule to connect it to the cuff area. So at the bottom as well, I'm taking a measurement of 2 inches around the border area. So I'll be connecting that point back to the crushed point using my straight rule. Next, I took a 1 inch measurement around the starting line. Okay, so for the back pattern, it is usually higher by 1 inch. This helps your your pants or your shorts to sit properly on the waist. And after that, I went ahead to cut out my pattern. I'll go over to the sewing machine to stitch around that curve area using half an inch. So I'm simply using my chalk now to show you the areas where we'll be running our stitches. So after I was done stitching, this is what it is now looking like. So I'm going to be drafting the pockets of our short baggy pants. So on the side, I am taking a measurement of 1 inch, and from that point is going to be the opening of the pocket area. So it is 7 inches measurement for the opening of our pocket area. So I'll just use my chalk to rule a line or possibly make notches around there so you'll be able to identify them. So I'll do that for both the back and the front fabric. And then this piece of fabric is what I'm going to be using to draft my pattern. Okay, so this is going to be the shape of my pocket fabric, and then I am taking that 7 inch measurement for the pocket opening, and from that 7 inch point I am drafting a curve. So the full length of this pocket is 10 inches while the width is 6 inches. So I'll go ahead now to cut out my pattern, and the next thing is we're going to be attaching it to baggy pants fabric which we have cut out. So I'll be placing it the right sides facing each other on both sides. So ensure to place it below that 1 inch measurement we took earlier. So you can see the way I'm placing it now. So after I was done, this is what it is looking like, okay, for both the front and the back. So what I'm going to be doing now is placing the front fabric on the back fabric. So the back fabric is wider. Don't bother about that one. That's the way it is. Just place it properly and ensure they are properly aligned, and then run your stitches around the area I'm indicating with my finger. So you'll be running your stitches with 1 inch allowance, okay? So run your stitch from the top there around the curve area of the pocket all the way to the border of this shirt. So this is what it is looking like after I was done stitching. So next, I'm going to be stitching around the border area of the short pants, okay, before stitching the crushed area. So I'll make double fold now, and I'll go over to the sewing machine to run my stitches as I'm indicating with my finger. Next, I'm going to be stitching around the crushed area. I've placed it on each other and they are both equal. So I'll go ahead now to stitch on my machine. So we are done with that now, and this is what it is looking like. So we'll be working on the waistband. So what I'm doing now is taking my waist measurement. The waist is very wide. It is 66 inches. So the person that actually owns this shirt is a bit chubby. So I have my piece of fabric which I had already cut out. It is 5 inch of width and 67.5 inches of length. Okay, so I added extra to the waist length that I had measured earlier for my seam allowance. So that portion I'm indicating with my finger is where we're going to be running our stitches. We'll run our stitches through one side, and then on the other side you see me using my chalk to rule a sort of a straight line, and next to that I'm taking a 1 inch measurement. So that portion I'm measuring now is going to have an opening, a space. So I'm not going to sew through. So I'll sew to the other end and also sew to the other end while I leave out that space. So after I was done stitching, I've gone ahead to iron it out now. You can see that portion I left out of 1 inch having a hole. So it is from that hole we are going to be passing through our drawstrings and our elastic band. So I'll go ahead now to attach my band to my shorts. So I'm using my pins to hold it in place. If you took your measurement rightly and you stitched it the way I did mine, the measurement of this band will be the same as that of your waist. So using my pins, I'm holding it in place, and after this I'll go ahead to the sewing machine to stitch all around the waist. And this is what it is now looking like. You can see it properly flattened and looking very fine already. So on the waist portion there, I'm going to be running stitches around it again. I'm going to running a top stitch around it. The band is not very wide. This would give it that folding and smoking effect when we are done attaching or placing our drawstrings in our waistband. So I'm simply passing through that hole now, my drawstrings, and after that I would also be passing through the hole, my waist elastic band. So this is what it is looking like. So I tied the drawstrings together so it doesn't pull through one side, and then I will have to start again. So next to that, I am passing my elastic band all through the waist as well. So the length of this band is 34 inches. So my client's waist is 36 inches. I reduced it by 2 inches to give me 34 it. So I'm simply stretching the band, dragging the band so it will go in completely. And after I was done, I will go ahead now to the sewing machine to stitch the band together so it doesn't pull out. So a quick reminder, if at this point you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Kindly be a part of this community. We love you here. And there you have it, looking very fine. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll be seeing you on the next one.